this class, we're going to be working on another create feature. I'm going to skip over the loft for a moment, and we're going to go into sweep. Okay, so one more time, you've got your primitives in the left-hand side. You've got your extrusion tool. You've got your revolve tool, which we've used. The loft tool I'm going to skip, and we're going to go over the sweep. So sweeping is similar to an extrusion in that you are extruding along a particular path. Okay, if you want to take a look in the textbook, sweeping and lofts are going to be covered in chapter 7, so it's the back part of your book, page 153. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create some sort of region or two-dimensional object. All right, so you can use a polygon, rectangle, circle, ellipse. These are all categorized as objects when you draw them. All right, so if I use my rectangle tool and just create a simple rectangle like so. Okay, and now what I have to do is I actually have to change my XY plane. Okay, I have to change my UCS and the way that that works. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and the middle mouse button, or the mouse wheel rather, so that I can change my 3D option. And with this 3D option, I am going to change, let's change about the x-axis. All right, so I'm going to click in the coordinate section under the x-axis, rotate about the x, and change it 90 degrees. Okay, if you haven't seen your UCS change, all right, that basically means that your visualization style is stuck on 2D wireframe. So if you change it to anything else, then you'll get your UCS to change to those 3 multicolors, and that's where we want to be working. All right, so now that I've changed my UCS, I'm going to use the drawing tool or the line tool. Let's use the line tool. And I'm going to go down to spline fit. Okay. And I'm just going to start drawing, clicking as I go, just kind of clicking around. I don't want to make sharp turns. Okay, when I'm done, I'm going to hit enter. You want to be careful with 2 things here. The first thing is your path. Okay, your path has to be roomy enough to hold the profile. Okay, so this rectangle that I drew is my profile. This long spline is my path. All right, so in other words, if my profile is larger, okay, if I'm sliding this along the path, there might be times where on a turn it's going to intersect itself and it's not going to be able to form the spline, okay, because it's just too big and it's going to freak AutoCAD out. So I'm going to click on sweep, and it says select object to sweep. Okay, so I'm going to select my rectangle. I'm going to right click or hit enter, and then it says to select the sweep path. So I'm going to select the path, and it basically applies that profile to my path. All right, and that's what a sweep does. Ian?
How does it determine thickness of it?
Based on your profile. Everything is based on your profile. So if you draw a thicker rectangle, right? Take a look at the end, and that's the rectangle that you drew. Okay. If I undo and I change I'll draw an ellipse. If I do the sweep path with an ellipse, right, it takes on the shape of that ellipse. Yeah. All right. So if you wanted to do something like a hollow tube or a hose, all right, there would actually be two things that you'd have to do. You'd have to create a larger size and a smaller size profile. And then you'd have to cut one out or subtract one out. Okay? So what you have this. If I sweep again, you have a 2D wireframe. This is what it's going to look like in wireframe. Okay? It looks like you have those, profiles attached to one end. If you switch your visualization style, then you'll actually see the 3D. Okay? So be careful what visualization style you're in. Okay, so one more time if I wanted to. And actually, the good thing about the sweep here is that you don't necessarily have to be in a perpendicular plane, meaning that your profile is on one plane and your path on another plane. In SolidWorks and Inventor and advanced programs like that, you will have to be on a perpendicular plane. But in AutoCAD, it just jumps right to it. No problems, no questions asked.